I really wanted to see this one in cinemas, and unfortunately I just didn't get a chance to. And now here we are 5 months later? Jesus Christ, it came out in March. God, that's been 7 months. Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Here we have a prequel movie to the TV show Jujutsu Kaisen. Supernatural monsters known as curses terrorize humanity from the shadows, and powerful humans known as Jujutsu Sorcerers use mystical arts to exterminate them. This is, in a very blunt way, a typical shonen anime. It's got power levels, action, comedy, adventure, but when you dive a little bit deeper into it, it's much more than that. What we have here essentially is shonen anime at its peak. This movie follows Yuta Okkotsu, which ever since his childhood friend Rika died in a traffic accident has been stuck with her ghost. Since then, Rika has taken this form of this monstrous entity sworn to protect him at all costs. We follow Yuta on this journey to lift himself from the curse and to become a Jujutsu user. This review will be spoiler free as the movie's just dropped on Crunchyroll last weekend, and I know not everyone's had a chance to see it yet, but gosh, I really wish I went to the cinema to see this one because this film is awesome. In a rough sense, you could call this a 2-hour extension of the anime, as the quality is similar, if not just slightly better than the first season of the TV show. That's not to slate this movie, but more to say how amazing the quality of that TV show was. This is again done by Mappa Studios, who by this point just have an incredible portfolio of anime. Character designs are broad and interesting, and the world we're thrown into is exciting to learn about, and god, those fights are top tier. And without a doubt, this film shares those exact same qualities. We shift our focus 1 year back onto a new main character called Yuta, who I wasn't actually aware of was actually frequently mentioned throughout the first season of the TV show. Someone's put a really good YouTube video together pointing out how many times people talk about him. It just completely went over my head. I would say initially he's quite a frustrating character to watch. I don't know if it's because I watched it in English dub, but he just came off a little bit whiny for my liking. For better or worse, this movie's pace is very fast, and we very quickly blitz through those growing pains that the main character has, to where he grows to become a much more competent and likeable main character. He's also backed up by a great supporting cast who anyone that's seen the show will be very familiar with already. And they're all great in this too, albeit I don't think they really flesh out their characters any more than what we've already seen. But they were still great in here nonetheless. And the same goes for everyone's favourite character Gojo too, who is in here and is as likeable as ever, but there's not really too much in terms of development for him. Aside from Yuta, I'd say the only other character we learn a lot more about in this film is our villain Suguru Geto. This guy was awesome to watch, and we get a big chunk of him in the second half of the film. And this film is, in a way, a film of two halves. The first half being where we learn about the main character in a way that newcomers who haven't seen the show can come to grips with the world around them. It does feel rushed, but it does feel necessary to do so in order to keep this film being a digestible runtime. The second half is where the conflict builds up, and when this film gets into top gear, god does it reach another level. Action scenes are beautifully animated with some really interesting angles too, very similar to the first season of the show. Fights feel relentless and uninterrupted, and we as the audience just get to sit back and soak it up for all of its glory. We also get to see a bunch of new Jujutsu users who I'll be really interested to see how they play into the story moving into season 2 onwards. I watched the film and season 1 in dub, and I think the voice acting was great. The only exception might be Yuta, but you do get past that quickly. The music as well was just banging, and I'm not just talking about the intro songs, but the techno score we had in the background did so well to complement that fast-paced action going on in front of us. If you've watched season 1, none of what I'm saying will surprise you, and this is an absolute no-brainer for you to watch as well. For newcomers of the show, I would still recommend watching this as well. However, I do feel you might be a bit better off experiencing the story through the TV show first. It gives you a bit more time to come to grips with the world and the power elements behind the whole show. But newcomers won't feel like they've been left in the dark if they're only just seeing this instead. There are a handful of cameos that might go unappreciated if you haven't seen the show, but aside from that, you'll be fine. So yeah, it's a recommendation from me. You can find it on Crunchyroll now, and if you've already seen it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you found this review helpful, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime, and video games. Until next one guys, take care. Bye bye.